Okay, now coming back to a topic which Bobby's favorite topic. Bobby, you're not on video anyway, but you can at least ask the question you wanted. Bobby, can you hear?
Sorry, Vilashi. I think you're saying that you're going to talk something else, but uh, so hello,
Yeah, Bobby, go ahead.
can you hear me, Vilashi?
Yes, I can hear you. Tell me.
No, no. Yesterday you were saying that you are going to talk some experience about Ladakh.
No, that you leave
So
it. But first, let's finish yours. And that experience can wait.
okay. See, I think the last discussion we had was about this sexual misconduct of all this. There is a that precept we are discussing. Um, and I can't remember, but I asked Vilashi later on that it looks like all the monk tools and everything is mainly focused on this research on male. So I was asking why it is like that, because even so many things it looks like it is a male thing. I think that day you were also mentioning that. The pubs are there and the clubs are there. You want to get a lady. Otherwise, and even you are talking about some cities where all this prostitution things are there. It is catering males. So it looks like this is a problem for the males. So I thought it would be a controversial question, so that's why I didn't ask. But Vilas told you can ask that.
Sure, good question. I would also ask that. Even Amar, we were just discussing about your question only, Bobby. So even he has that view that no, both are equal or whatever. So let's understand in a more proper perspective. We'll take three aspects into consideration: physiological, okay, psychological, and mental. Psychology is actually mental, but you can create another one called a pure mental state of men and women, or a boy and a girl. Okay? Physiology means the bodily nature. Okay. Now, in a woman or in a girl, the menstrual cycle decides her sexual interest, not an interest as such. If her cycle is good, then she might retain a good amount of sexual interest urge during that cycle, not later, not after, before, or whatever it is. Because there are factors, is that hormonal. Estrogen doesn't produce so much of urge to uh, what we can say to seed things out rather than this one testosterone. Biologically speaking, if you forget the human species for the time being, you see mammalian thing. It's more about male trying to have an offspring. Okay, you take pistil, and stamen and pistil in a asexual reproduction. It almost works the same way. You require someone to implant it, right? So there are two kinds of reproduction. One is asexual reproduction, one is a sexual reproduction. So if you take from a biological standpoint, pure biological standpoint, the urge for biological is more in a man than a woman, because women goes through, or even a dog or any animal, even a cat goes through a menstrual cycle. So it has its own cycles. And the number of eggs is what determine what her psychological state is going to be. Okay. So basically, you can't say a man equals women because man doesn't have menstrual cycle. By chance, you have a menstrual cycle, that creates a bigger problem. So I don't think so any one of us have a menstrual cycle per se. That being the fact, there is no outlet just like a woman can have in their menstrual. Because what happens in the menstrual cycle is the egg gets released So when the egg has been released, it comes out. So when they come out, it takes time for them to again get into that mode. Now, when coming to psychological, women have emotional bonding than a physical bonding. Unless their emotional needs are met, they are not going to open up to a man. But as far as a man is concerned, all that he wants is physical than emotional. In fact, he will run away with emotions. I've never seen anyone getting involved with emotions. Basically, he gets caught up in that net, and hence he has to now take care of the wife and children and blah blah all that. But normally it is physical. And third condition is that you as a man, she as a woman would like her to be taken care more than the man. Meaning you have to do many things to get that woman. But for her, it's nothing like that. She doesn't have to do many things to get a man. So it is more prone toward psychological state than a physiological state. Men or boys are more physiological than psychological. If you want to study, you can study the biological aspect and physiological aspect medically. I'm not talking about as a just from Dhamma perspective. If you ask a gynecologist, and you would know how a woman and how a man differ in terms of sexual dysfunction or sexual incontinence or whatever that problems that arises, and then you will be able to see who has what. Testosterone and estrogens are two different kind of chemicals or hormones. You can't expect they both to function exactly the same. Okay, even though men have estrogen and women have also have this testosterone, if the testosterone level increases in a woman, she'll get hairs. Okay, because she has more testosterone. And if a man has more estrogen, it means that he will not only lose hairs, he will look more feminine. Right? So his emotional states will change because the testosterone level is low. So, in fact, at 54 to or 52 to something like 58, 59, it's also called as male menopause because the testosterone level dips down, so they get confused on their life. Not everyone undergoes this. If you want, you can research. There are a lot of papers on male menopause. There are huge number of papers, medical papers in medical journals. You can, if somebody is interested and can know whether he or she, or he, not she, he is suffering from male menopause. There was one person who came to my home who had a male menopause issues. Not all males get into the male menopause issues, but if they get into it, their psychological state is completely spoiled. They act like crazy. So you can, if somebody has a daughter with them or wives, they can see their mood swings are more during menstrual cycle than otherwise, and the body aches are more during menstrual cycle. They get cramps. Which man has got a cramp? There's no cramps. There are no menstrual cramps for a man, and there is nothing called as mood swings. So the amount of estrogen in the body and how the egg is getting released depicts or says what mental state this woman can be. So women are unpredictable. You just cannot say what is their next move. They might be fine in the morning, but they might not be fine at all in the evening. Correct? Because of menstrual cycle. Now, you as a man has no thing called as mood. You have only one mood, bed mood. That's it. That's the only thing a man has. But a woman has many moods. So she will negotiate with you if you want to bed with her because she has moods. A man doesn't have moods. So whoever is married can please reflect upon it whether your wife has a mood or she's exactly like you. If she has mood, Bobby, you can check with Marin because you know whom to ask. So you can check after so many years of your marriage, you can find out whether who is having mood, you or he or she. Right? So you can find that out, and you will find out, you'll be surprised to find that women have mood. They have mood because of estrogen level, not because of anything else. Right? So we need to know physiological aspect, and that counts to the psychological aspect. Psychology is, psyche means mind, and the mental state is what psychology is all about. So if you want to see a woman, you need to meet her psychological requirement first than the physiological requirement. It's not the Archana can also add, since she's a woman in this whole crowd. I think she's the only person, so she can say if I'm what I'm talking is right or wrong. Yes, Archana.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. What you're saying is right, actually.
Okay. So it's not about they're not interested in sex. It's not about they're always interested in sex. It depends on their bodily constructs. So when you refer to a sutta, or when you see some monk or somebody getting caught up in this net, is because men are physiological and women are psychological. Yes, Abhi.
Also, another big thing I'm sure you know is, but just something I feel this is more predominant, that for women they only have so many eggs. I think one egg, as opposed to the ratio of a man has millions of sperm, and a woman in their lifetime can produce so many babies.
430 eggs.
Yes, but a man can produce millions and thousands of babies. If like some kings have, thousands of children, and so biologically they are wired differently. A man's core mission is to implant as many seeds as possible.
Exactly.
But
So
a woman's core obligation is to ensure that she has very selective process, because she can only produce like handful of children. So she's going to be extremely careful, precautious with choosing a man. So they have very different psyche towards sex. And now with contraception and things like that, things have changed, but it's only been few decades, so our biology haven't changed. But traditionally, that is something women are very hardwired. So this is a natural thing which is very strongly predominant.
yes, and one another factor to add it is who produces what. Does a woman can produce life forms? No. No female can produce a life form. They can sustain a life form. That means they can hold the life form, not create a life form. The creation is with a male, whether it is from, you look at praying mantis. Mantis lives for 1 day only. He fucks around so many number of times. He dies out of this act of procreation. The woman, that female mantis, will kill. You see this after he implants eggs. Oh, sorry, he implants and then the eggs are produced. It kills that person. You please check for praying mantis. Okay, and you'll be shocked how it kills. That person dies out of sexual urge. That means this act is there in everything. It's not only human centric. What we are talking today as though it's human centric. It's not. It's male centric. Can be any organism, it's male centric. Okay. The female will produce eggs. The male doesn't produce eggs. If a male starts producing egg, we don't know what to say with it. At present, as we talk, male doesn't produce egg. Male produces sperm, and sperms are life giver. So they can give life. So the, the sperm enters and then takes the egg and joins. And that state is blastocyst. If you really study biology well, you would know who produces what. The production, the creation is with man. No matter what you want to say, you can feminist or masculinist, it doesn't matter. That's how the nature is. Woman doesn't have sperms for that sake. No matter if she might be imagining it, she doesn't have, she can't create. And the same way, a man cannot bear the life form like a woman. How many men are pregnant? It's not. So a man can make a woman pregnant, a dog can make a female dog pregnant, a cat can make a female cat pregnant, a rat can make a female rat pregnant. Have you ever heard or seen a female rat making a male rat pregnant? If it is not there in nature, you cannot get it. Okay? It's not human beings. When Buddha talks, it is satta. It's not a human. Manusa is human. He talks from satta point of view. Okay? So when we have this brain called as mammalian brain, which is in medicine amygdala, please study on amygdala. You will come to see why we react in a way we react. It's because of amygdala. That part of the brain, you can bypass it, but you can't cut it off. And if you're interested, Bobby, you can study on triune, Triune, three types of brain. So this theory came into some years ago, and then this person was supposed to get a good award for finding it out, but then they found that it doesn't work that way. It was dropped, but otherwise, he came up with three kind of brain, which somewhat seems okay, but medically it is not okay. So they did not go further on that research. So if you research enough, you will find why, like what Abhi says, wiring is different. The male wiring is totally different than the female wiring. So it is not gender specific, that sexuality. It is actually, or not human specific, actually what is there in nature. In nature, that female species take care of its children. So it has to choose the best among the male to get her the security. Simple. Because she has lesser number of eggs. A male job is to reproduce and a female job is to sustain the reproduction. So she has to be careful, judicious, knowing what should be done. So she would be more emotionally inclined for this reason. And she's becoming a mother, rat or a cat or a zebra, to a fly, house fly, to ants, to why do they say queen bee? Or why not king bee? Why? Why in the ant world it is called as queen ant? Why not a king ant? They should have been king ants, as such. But if you really see, that female produces millions of eggs. And these male ants, they die in satisfying that woman, that female ant. They're worker ants. So please study the entire nature. Then you would see it's not human alone. What we have done is that we have restricted ourselves to human, and then what we see today in life, and then we think, a male also, female also has sexual interest. Yes, they do. But you study anthropology, okay? You study a little bit of botany, you little bit of zoology, you little bit of medicine, and then you will see how things work. Don't see from a very top level perspective and think that, you know what, this is just written from male point of view. No, it's not. especially Buddha Dhamma, he talks about sattva or sattva, which means beings. Got nothing to do with humans alone. Does that answer this question, or anyone having more doubts than what they had earlier? Are we done with this discussion? Yes, yes, Rio.
Sorry, the original question was a little muffled for me from Bobby. Is it just asking man versus woman? Is that it? Or is there
Yeah,
some concept?
his question is that whatever problems we are having with the monk going and doing something, etc., and then how things work, looks like more male centric, and then female think that the females or the women doesn't have sexual interest. It's only the male who has sexual interest. That's the basic question what he has. Today, chastity is for a man or for a woman? The question, brahmacharya is for whom? Kameshu Michachara is for whom? If you see the sutta, Duccharita Vipaka Sutta, or you see this Chunda Sutta, he says all of them related to girl being taken up by a boy, and he says you shouldn't have sex with this person, this person, this person, this person, this person, right? And you take Vinaya, it has complete thing about monks going and doing something with lay women. Why that? The recent case which happened in Bangkok or in Thailand, where one woman, she amassed so much of wealth from the monks for sex. And all the gurus who get caught in the act is men or women. So-called gurus who get caught up is with a woman. So who is in psychological need or sociological need or physiological need? It's a man who is caught up, not a woman. Reason being this, it's a biological response, number one. So you have to do many things to come out of this sexual urge than a woman. And last part is women can suppress their sexual urge, which a man can never do it, because she can do it with emotions. A man is a non-emotional person. He is more physical than emotional. In fact, he goes away if it is emotions. What are emotions? Emotions means something to coerce a person to do certain way than what that person would have done. So what do? They cry, they throw tantrums, they argue, they do everything in the name of relationship. As long as you're satisfying to their emotions, they're fine. So a man wants sex and a woman want emotion. So then, now the emotions are not really drawn out from their emotions. It depends on their physiological state, the menstrual cycle, what they have. So even when
I would start
Abhi, can you Abhi?
So I will not be at home the whole morning. And
So the thing is, when we see this, if you take a psychological response versus physical response, psychologically, when they get a menopause, they require more support. Women require more support than men. Most of the arguments, most of the problems starts when the woman is misunderstood by her husband during menopause because she requires support. So there's a lot of a different contextual thing which happens during the 50s of a man versus 50s of a woman. So she starts her menopause cycle starts somewhere 43, 44 and can go up to 51, 52, 53 or 54 or even 55. So in these 10 years, the man undergoes real emotional upsurge than a woman, because a woman is having both psychological and physiological problem. So now he's caught up. So to understand a woman better, you need to understand her psychology, not the physiology. Physiology, she can't do anything anyway. It's not her within her thing. So we have to understand a woman's emotions, and she has to understand men's physical or the physiological need. Men doesn't have a psychological need. Men have a physiological need. Once they get entangled into this samsara, then the physiological turns itself into psychological as well. So there's a connection. So then he feels like a family, that I have my children and I have my, this one, what is that? My wife. Tell me another thing. This is another Asian centric thing, because in West they're totally separated out. In a marriage, the girl's parent are liked by the girl. She wants them. But is she open with having the boy's parents being there? Why? Because the girl mother can understand her far better than this mother-in-law. So there is a psychological need, not a physiological need. It's not physical. So this boy is torn between the love for his mother and love for his wife. Now either he has to throw out his mother, because she'll keep on commenting, oh, you are like your mother, you love your mother, you love your mother, blah, 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 and turn it into a fight, which is happening downstairs anyway. I'm not faking it. I'm seeing it just down this building. Okay. Now he has to take a stand, whether wife or mother. Why? Because both have psychological need. Both don't have physiological need. This boy has a physiological need. So he will lend himself towards his wife, throwing out his mother. If it was a daughter, like my wife, she will take care of her mother, because she has psychological need. She doesn't have a physiological need. Now what I should do? I can't do anything. Can I say no to it? I can't. But to see my mother, I have to take permission. Right? This is fun. And this is what happens everywhere. It has not happened in my life, that's okay, but I see people seeking permission to go and see their mother. Come on, it's your mother. You can go and see anytime. No, 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 I need to ask. Why? Why you need to ask? Oh, my wife, what is got to do with your wife? If you want to see your mother, you can go and see anytime. No, I need to ask. But will she do the same thing with her mother? She will go whenever she wants. She will ask her to come and stay with you. And I have seen that with Aryu. Okay. Who was doing what? I've seen in his life. So you please understand from this basic perspective that physiological is different and psychological is totally different. And we come to the third aspect, mental, the mental makeup of that person. It's totally different than psychological need also. It's a mental makeup. As a girl, if I want to dominate that person, I will do anything to dominate that person. That's mental makeup. This idiot, for the sake of sex, he is getting caught up in all of this misery. He doesn't know all of these schemes. But that girl knows exactly what she wants. He wants to make sure this guy doesn't go anywhere. It's just like a female, what we can say, spider waiting in the web. And that's it, he's caught. And there are people, maximum amount of people these days, this generation who believe, that means they have made their mental makeup in such a way, if I marry that person, I will do whatever I want him to do. He has to cook for me, he has to take care of the family, he has to share his money. I will not give any money to him. Okay? And then I'll not share anything. Okay? It's his problem. And then his parents shouldn't be coming and staying with us. Blah, 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 blah. So many things are there. Have you heard any man talking like that? Now, this is the problem. It's mental. It's mental makeup. So you have three things: physiological, which they don't have much; psychological, which they have; and mental makeup. As apart from psychological, this is what the complete thing is. Whereas man has only physiological. So now, if anybody would like to argue and tell me, no, this is totally wrong understanding of yours, I'm willing to hear. Yes, Harry.
I'm not trying to argue, but what is the mental makeup of men?
Three-letter word. Yes or no? For everything is a three-letter word. Yes, Abhi.
So what you said, I'm not arguing, but just I'm trying to think to put it in context. It's in our culture. In the past, it was the opposite. No, it was very male centric and dominant. And what happened? It started maybe previous generation to mine. It's men were villainized because previously men were on the other side, and then the men came under the shadow of the women. This happened. I don't know if it's for the first time, but recent studies shows there's an American philosopher who studied for the last few thousands of history to study this, and there's a quote. I don't know if somebody might have heard that weak men create. Weak men create hard societies, like difficult times, because the men were not strong, and the difficult times will create strong men, because the times were difficult, so the man has to stand up and protect, and then create safety in the society, and then the next generation, when they grow up in that safety, those men will be weak again. So it is a perpetual cycle that
Yes.
happens.
Correct.
And in India, this was the other way. And now it's gone to the other way. If you see all the dowry cases, the fake people, anybody in legal jurisdiction and police, and they will tell that there is more men who are now in trouble for fake rape and dowry cases than women at this point in time, because now the women have learned to be more careful and abuse the power. So the government is really trying to work hard to figure out how to
Yes.
have it equitable.
Yes. So the basic problem of a man has remained the same, but the women has changed. So it's more psychological, and no man can meet or even come near to woman's psychology. It's way different. It's literally different. You just can't play around with women. It's in your best interest. It's in your best interest. Don't deal with women.
I feel we should be given a handbook when people are getting married or something. Otherwise, it's like a suicide. I'm saying from experience. I have been married for.
Yes. Because it's pretty difficult. See, a man by gender or a male by gender is more towards biological response. That's it. And a female by gender from all species. You take a if you really want to study the life of a lion, it's called Lion King. Have you heard anything called as Lion Queen? Have you ever heard anything like that? I think feminists will frown at me, but that's the truth. Now you see the life of a lion. That lion is supposed to show his territory. Is a lioness showing her territory? This lion is supposed to pee around and show his territory. So this is my territory. And the piss, what he, like dogs also will piss and mark the territory, so that it will not allow any other male dog to come into its territory. The only way to make sure that it has the territory marking is by pissing. And hence you can see on the roads, the dog is pissing just to smell and see where it is territory. It is not pissing at your house or somebody's house. It's triggering a physiological response to what it should do. It is supposed to have a territory. So when a female dog comes over, she attracts by that scent, and then she would like to bed with that dog. Basically, that's what it's doing. So in the case of lion, the lion will first pee around and show its territory. And the lioness will feel that this lion is strong. So I can be with him. And another lioness also will come. And another lioness also will come. So he will have more lionesses to showcase that he can maintain that much amount of family. Right? And then the fun starts. It takes care of the cubs. It takes care of food issues. Everything that male lion is doing. You know what happens in the end? The lion commits suicide. It digs its own grave. Have you ever heard anything like this? You please read the life of a lion. It's there on YouTube. You can see how it dies, how it self kills itself. The lioness, these many lionesses who are there with it, with their cubs, and they have become bigger lions by themselves, don't even come to help this poor guy who's dying. Right? And that's the price of sexuality. Yes, go ahead.
So what is the cause and conditions for some species to have a female dominance, like a hyena or dogs, the wild dogs?
It depends on the environmental factors. Got nothing to do with, even then, hyena. You study about hyena, you'll come to see how it hunts for male species, male hyena. You look at how a female hyena, okay, picks up the male hyena. Why that? Look at peacock. The male peacock has those colorful feather. The female peacock doesn't have those colorful feather. So the male peacock is supposed to be showing itself that I am the right person for you. Than the other way around. The female peacock doesn't even care. So you have to see species wise and look at male and female rather than restricting yourself to a human male and a human female and act different. So the best thing what Buddha recommends for a man is to give up the psychological need. You will be better because you don't have emotional and all that mental makeup, everything. Just drop the psychological. That's it. You're done.
You mean physiological?
Sorry, physiological need. That's it. Yes, Abhi.
Kind of a sensitive question. Usually don't get to really talk about it. But we have seen in history, like how you're talking about the gurus getting involved most of the time. And recently, now that I know many people staying with, different organizations, I get to hear more of those kind of stories. And it's quite commonly known now that almost every guru, regardless how big or popular, either directly or indirectly, there is in the back, there is some things which is like what
Cooking.
they say, skeleton coffin.
Cooking, yes.
Yes, and some are very, very disturbing, and some are more like, but regardless, it's non-ethical to say the least. And comparatively, it seems like somehow in our cultural context, it's somewhat even balanced, but in the West, and for example, Christianity, it's even worse because there it's more tabooed. So the church and the father and there's a lot of pedophilia that comes from the West, and there are also things like that in our culture also, but pedophilia is more predominant in the West because they had villainized and suppressed like the whole made sexuality a sin, and it's an emotion which is disowned and suppressed, but because they can't control and manage it in the true sense, it becomes a part of our shadow psyche, and then eventually it comes in a repressed it gets repressed and comes out. That's really the core reason for a lot of violence with children, a lot of domestic abuse, but most importantly, all this child abduction, all the child sexual torture is coming from that. And what is your point of view on that? Like, it's ideally this should happen, but in a lot of cases, this is not happening naturally, and men are not able to manage and balance it. But then eventually it comes out in a very negative way. Even in the, I've heard many times in Thailand, it's very common amongst the monastery. Uh, Now it's more complicated because a lot of men, they like men. And I've heard from people who are like, I like men, and they're putting me with men, and they think it's safe, but I'm not safe. And so it gets, at certain point, it gets very blurry and very complicated also, but we don't usually talk about this aspect. It's not discussed.
Yeah, it is there in Vinaya. Whatever you're seeing is there in the Vinaya. It is also about pedophilia. From that to gay sex to everything is there in Vinaya. You'll be shocked to see everything is covered in Vinaya. Okay. So anyway, coming back to this, is like this. See, the basically thing is two aspects, physiology and psychology. If somebody's psyche is changed or can be manipulated, can be changed. So a man being more prone towards physical, if his mentality is changed to something else, like in a gay, and then what happens here is that he stops liking for a feminine and starts his psyche is moved into masculine. There's no physiological need, but there is a psychological need now. So it's slightly a different. So there is intersexual. So if you really see physically also, there can be intersexual. What is intersexual? Intersexual is a state of physical, that is physiologically, that the person's genital is manipulated, changed by nature. In that case, the person behaves like a female, even though being a male by gender, or can get into a psychological aspect of thinking, I am a female in a male body, or I am a male in a female body. This can happen because psyche, mind, is depicted by the hormone flow. So if the testosterone level is low and the other chemicals or other hormones are more, and then this person starts to behave, meaning in the mentality. Now the third one, the second one, psychological, as though he's a other gender, some other gender. So if you research enough on intersexual people, the genitals are different. Genital would be different. And then what happens? There is male breast syndrome. So he starts developing the breast. So there's so many things which actually happens. So basically we need to see things from a proper perspective. So there are three things what we're talking. One, pure physiological, as heterosexual, meaning say that you don't have an homosexual kind of psyche. It's a heterosexual psyche because you're pure male or a pure female. So that's what we're talking about. Then we come into the physio-psycho change, which is intersexual. Okay. In that case, the male and the female, they have a different genitals. And then that becomes a different aspect altogether because their psyche is dependent on the physical change. because the hormonal changes are totally different. There are men who have vagina and penis as well. There are cases, there are many cases, not just one case, thousands and thousands of cases where a male or a female can have both genitals. And when they have both genitals, they are not operable. That means they don't operate in general. So they tend to have a differences. So that's what LGBTQ and all that is. So then it comes to that category, what we're talking about. Then the third category is psychological. So it involves everything. So if somebody gets caught up is heterosexual, means they have a proper genital and a proper mental makeup, and their physical aspect is physiologically, they are more prone towards that. That means they would like to create more offspring, so then they get into this aspect. They can't control. So if through meditation, not medication, through meditation, if they can let go of this requirement, then the brain can get rewired in such a way that it doesn't create more testosterone. So his level of testosterone reduces. So his urge for sexuality or sexual is done with. People become chastity. That means they get into this aspect of brahmacharya without really seeing how to reduce their actual urge. They just think that they should be suppressing it, and suppression creates more problem than anything else. Anyway, good question from Bobby, and we have taken the entire 1 hour on this subject, which is good. So at least there's some clarity on why Buddha talks about more men than women. That doesn't mean that woman doesn't have sexual urge, but it is more covered up with psychological. So you have to study the following species in its entirety. I'll tell you the species: rat, cat, dog, giraffe, buffalo, cows, hyena, praying mantis, lion, tiger, crocodiles. Other than humans, I'm talking about. Then you would know how nature is built up. And Buddha Dhamma is the nature. It is not human specific psychological aspect. It's the nature of things. So we should see nature, not as a particular species. We're not talking just a species. So if we talk about anatta, dukkha, anicca, dukkha, anatta, it's not about human beings, it's about the nature. And that's it. It's got nothing to do with humans per se. If you understand the nature, you will not suffer, that's all. It's not about whether you like it or dislike it, or you don't agree with it or disagree with it. It doesn't matter. It's a nature. What is there in nature? A feminine has a nature, a masculine has a nature. That's it. You respect the nature. So a woman has to bear a child. A woman means a feminine has to bear its offspring. So it will react in one particular way. Appreciate that, and that's it. You're done with it. A man is supposed to give his or donate his sperm to get an offspring. And just be that. That's it. That's a nature. And just respect the nature. And in that nature, there is anicca. What does that mean? It arises and passes away. That's the nature. You see anywhere, the sky, from sunrise to sunset to everything arises and passes away. You can't hold it. And holding that on is a dukkha, it's suffering, because it passes away. What you can do, what anybody can do, and you're helpless. Anatta means there's no self. You cannot control the nature. You can't say, I will stop sun from rising. Oh, you. I don't believe it. Don't believe. Who's saying that you should believe? Don't believe. Your belief or my belief or somebody's belief has got nothing to do with what happens in the nature. Nature is nature. Nature doesn't care. It's just nature. It's law of nature. You respect the law of nature. That's it. That's what Dhamma is. Just follow what's in the nature. You will not suffer. That's a very straight message. Don't treat anything in a suppressed form. Don't treat anything because you can't. It's nature. Like, number one, anger. You have anger, let's say, or I have anger. It's going to burn. Whether that person feels it or not, it's going to burn me. That's the nature of anger. Jealousy. It's going to make my blood pressure increase. It makes me uncomfortable, anxious. That's the nature. What if I'm not jealous at all? You will not have that. It's not a favor. You will not have that. That's it. Now, let's take it metta or this friendliness or loving kindness. If I am having loving kindness, you will not burn because that's nature. Simple nature. It's not that whether I believe it or I don't believe it. I will not burn. I am respecting the nature. So if I don't want to be burned, why should I be angry? Simple. I don't have to be believer in Buddha and then only I know. It is simple. It's just simple thing. Nature. And Buddha found out this nature. And hence he's called Buddha. Buddha is a state of mind. The purest state of mind is Buddha. It's not a person name. We have made it personalized. That's our problem. But Buddha is a state of mind. The most purest state of mind can anyone have is Buddha. That's it. So if I know this thing leads to suffering, I will not do. This thing doesn't lead to suffering, I will do. That's it. That's what is called akusala. Why? Because that takes you to suffering. Why it is kusala? Because it doesn't take you to suffering. Simple. Whether you believer or non-believer, how does that matter? It doesn't matter. Yes, Arif.
I guess this delusion or ignorance makes you not able to see what's burning and what's not burning. You mistake this burning as happiness, and you see it the opposite way.
Exactly. So here, when I see a woman, I am not seeing the nature. The nature of woman is to sustain life. So I should ask a question. Do I need someone to sustain another life form? And if the answer is no, then to cut off this sexual craving, I need to look at Asubha Bhavana. Bhavana means meditation. Asubha is this not good. Subha, auspicious. Asubha means inauspicious. Why? It leads to entanglement. So what I do? I watch the body decaying, because that's a law of nature. Anything that is produced will eventually go out of existence. Or every day it is going out of existence. So you take a plant, a sapling, you put a seed, it starts to come, and it grows and grows and grows, and the leaf starts to fall. New leaf will come, then the fruit comes, then it decays, then it becomes old and dies. Take an animal, same thing. Take any living organisms, goes through the same cycle. So what's the big deal with humans? It's the same cycle. So I respect nature. Do I need sustenance? Do I want to create another life form? No. To cut off this nature of my reproductive cycle, what I should do? Look at the Ashubha Bhavana. And then this same energy, the sexual energy in a man, is transformed into a spiritual energy. So what our good old Osho wrote, same thing. He wrote a nice book. Actually, he was right, but he put it in a very abstract form where people didn't understand what he's trying to say. So, from sexuality to spirituality is what he wrote a book. It's a very nice book to read, but not many people can understand what he's trying to say because it's quite abstract. Same thing what Buddha wrote. Exactly the same thing, but he has pragmatically written it. Increase your sila. First, increase your sila, get into samadhi, and you get into panya. So then you lose all of these things which you have been hankering on you. Let go of it. Yes, Abhi.
I find this is the core issue, that for us to know that we are in that state, we need to be self-aware first. Like, this is what is really happening in my, if it's sexual desire, urge or not urge, whatever it is, a man ideally should be more aware what's happening. But because we are generally not aware, it's not in balance. And psychologically, then we think, oh, I should be like this, or my society expects me to be more like brahmachari, or sometimes even people have a fantasy for spiritual growth, but they haven't really done the basic foundational work. Even to do basic spiritual work, a person needs to have certain amount of stability in life, which is sila all about, to have the basic foundation met so that the mind is in stable order. And I feel, especially in current context, there's in the past it was considered that a man becomes spiritual in their later age, stage of their life in past, but now it's become a trend for the first time that everybody is somehow, they're reading, learning, and so a lot of the times we are not listening to or not in touch with what is happening, and somehow are trying to suppress. Whereas if we really are observing and watching, like how you're saying, like the phenomena of arising and passing away, if we truly sincerely do that, then actually we know what's happening, and then it comes to harmony. I find when we observe that, like, oh, there is that urge in me, I see that, and then that also arises and that passes. But if I'm not, a lot of people are in denial, oh, I don't have needs, I'm okay, and they completely are avoidant of that, and then eventually after some point they come to a situation where they feel out of control because
Yes.
they haven't been observing their changing nature.
Yep, that's true. And I've sent that book name. Yes, Harry, you go ahead. You wanted to ask me something.
Yeah, I was thinking when you're describing this, men only have physiological need. I was thinking that job seems slightly easier for men because we just need to get, disillusioned about this feminine
Exactly.
body, get out of it. But for female, it may be more difficult because it's more abstract.
It is more
So
psychological.
how do they come out of it?
And that's the reason the first time when Ananda proposed, he said no. Because the amount of effort it takes for a woman to come out of it is more greater than the amount of effort a man has to do it. That doesn't mean that she can't, she can. But her psychological requirement is so much, it's not physiological. If it is physiological, you can do something because it is, you are just giving up. But here, it's more about security. So if somebody wants security, then that person is going to hold. Upadana is more in a woman than in a man. Right? So it's not that there's something bad. It's the law of nature. Nothing anybody can do, I'm telling you. You just look at a life of praying mantis. The only mistake that mantis has done is to have sexual intercourse. Otherwise, he is saved. I said, if he had done that, maybe he's alive. That poor guy will die. Just check praying mantis. I'm not faking. I'm just saying what is there.
Yeah, I've seen plenty of video of them, but I don't think they live so short. They live can be a month or
After
so. Yeah.
the act. It's not
Oh
prior
yeah,
to the act. It's after
yeah,
the act.
yeah. They just
While in the act, they get eaten away. I just watch it again.
Yes.
Like
While in the
during
act,
that,
they get eaten away.
the female would eat the head of the mantis, and with that food is continues the process more. So it's like literally starts chewing the head off
Exactly.
while in the process.
Yes. While he is screwing her in a very crude way, if I were to say.
yeah. I've seen the lower body can continue to do the act while the head is gone.
Yeah, the head is gone. You just see the pain. It's undergoing and still doing that act. My goodness. Be happy that you can give up. Not like mantis. But that's a law of nature. You just see this. You can't even fathom this. Cat. It eats the baby from which it has come. Why? It wants those cats which can survive. So if she finds that this particular cat is weak, it just eats it up. The male doesn't do any one of that. You know that? It's impossible to fathom. And look at the birds. They do the same thing. They just throw them out of the nest. The mother picks up that bird, throws it out of the nest. The male fellow brings food to the nest and finds his child has been knocked off by his own mother. This eagle, okay, you just see the eagle, the female eagle, it has laid the eggs, then it hatches. After hatching, this male job is to go and find food. This female doesn't go. It sits on that. Now it's heating it up and it checks, keeps on checking. It finds 3 or 4 of those are not yet grown. Oh no, what it does, it just throws it out like this. And that's nature. Not you or me. It's just nature. So we need to know the nature things, not about a particular person, a particular species, nature. And in nature, it's survival of the fittest. That's nature. If you didn't know this, nature chooses what to keep, what not to keep. You don't have a choice. Nature chooses. It's better that we understand the law of nature and stay as per nature. Then there's no suffering. So stop feeling feminine or masculine. There's nothing called feminine and masculine. It's just law of nature. If you give a brand to it saying that, oh, women require this, men require that, seems out of context. It's nature. Man has one nature, women has another nature. Every female species has one nature, every male species has one nature. Male species is supposed to reproduce and the female species is supposed to take care. That's nature. When you disregard the nature, you get caught up in miseries. And nobody can help anyone in that misery. So if we stick to nature, what happens? You will be rewarded. With what? By not coming back to this existence. And that's it. You don't have to do specific things. Just follow the law of nature. Just follow the natural law. What's in nature? Arising and passing away. Don't take anyone seriously. You're not 100% male to be 100% female. That's it. You're done. You don't see any feminine form. You don't see any masculine form. You just see forms. And with form comes feeling. With feeling comes perception. With perceptions comes preparation or choices. And with that comes a conscious experience. These are the 5 aggregates which are in nature. It's not yours. It's nobody's. It's nobody's nature. It's just nature. Eye has its own nature to see. Ear has its own nature to hear. Nose has its own nature to smell. Tongue has its nature to taste. Body has a nature to touch. Mind has a nature to think. Just keep it. You're not any one of them. It's just a nature. Eyes cannot hear. It's not in their nature to hear. Eye's nature is to see. It doesn't complain. It just sees. Ear nature is to hear. You can't make it see. Just for the change. No, it will not. Nose nature is to smell. It's not going to taste just because you're asking it to taste. Tongue nature is to taste. You can't make it see or hear or taste or touch or whatever. No, it's basic nature to taste. Whether in humans, whether in animals, whether in birds, whether in insect, whether in whichever form. That's the nature. Can anyone go against the nature? Not at all possible. If you respect nature, you're released from samsara. That's it. So stick to nature. And what Buddha says, arhat means what? Dhite dhite mattam bhavishyati. That means in seeing, there is only seeing. Not the seer, nor the seen. What a beautiful thing. Just stick to that. Every eye sees. There's no person to see. It's just an eye seeing, which is true. Ear, whether my ear, his ear, whose our ear, even this Amar's ear or my wife's ear, you think they're going to not hear? They will hear. Ear job is to hear. Nose job is to smell. Tongue job is to taste. Body job is to touch. And cognition is what mind can cognize. Any object it can cognize in just the act of cognition. So that's it. Be with the nature. What's the reward? You have ended all defilements. That's it, Arhat. Are you close to Arhat? Yes. Why? Because you're understanding the law of nature. Are you sticking to law of nature? Yes. And that's it. What's so great about it? Why make a huge thing of nothing? Okay, Ariu, bye-bye. See you.
Bye-bye.
We will also end now. We'll also end in a few minutes. Okay, that's it. Then any questions? You just read in Vinaya, you just go to Vinaya, Pitaka, you will find all explanation of sexuality or different kinds. In fact, you will start to feel that is it a pornographic book? It's so graphical.
So just look for Vinaya Pitaka.
In Vinaya Pitaka, or just give sexual, and then you get a whole section on sexuality. In that, it'll talk about men, women, men and men, women and women, so many different things where the monks have done something and all of that. And somebody is asking favor for sex or giving dhamma and all that. You'll get a lot of things. Yeah, there is. He asked this question, only this much. Then she asked, what do you think I should give you? He says, your body. That's the best donation you can give. And Buddha creates a law book for that. And the monk comes and confesses. He did that. And then Buddha says, what to be done next time in this situation.
Wow. that is probably how the church used, even in our temples, it was very common.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's a nature thing, right? It's nothing to do with you and me. It's just a nature. As long as you know how to handle nature, nature is not going to harm you. When you try to do something different than nature, you're going to harm yourself. See, the psyche is changed, but what about your physiological? That's not changed. There's a physiological need, it's not psychological need. Psychologically, you can get out of it. But what about physiological? That's when the problem comes. Okay, good day then.